Chinese police were allowed into Australia to speak with the woman. They breached protocol and escorted her back to China.
Here's a summary of the article.
Chinese police hunting international corruption targets were allowed into Australia by the federal police and subsequently escorted a woman back to China for trial, in a major breach of Chinese-Australian police protocols. The Chinese police were permitted to enter Australia in 2019 to talk with a 59-year-old Chinese-born Australian resident. The woman was targeted under a Chinese Communist Party anti-corruption drive called Operation Fox Hunt, which relies on police from the Ministry of Public Security to make arrests. The article stated the officers came to Australia with the strong support of the Chinese Embassy in Canberra and the Consulate General in Sydney. Four Corners has established the MPS officers were approved to come here under an agreement with the Australian Federal Police, but once they were here, they breached protocol and returned to China with the woman. Mr. Khalil said this was just the latest in a series of worrying cases regarding Chinese government interference in Australia. The AFP would neither discuss the 2019 case nor reveal whether other people had been similarly interviewed in Australia, or returned to China, by Chinese police.
This post received a score of 6,100, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I am convinced that there is no circumstance in which allowing Chinese police into your non-China country is ever the right option to take.
Think of how fucking insane that sounds anyway. Does any other country do this in developed countries? I mean, to a certain extent, yeah? The FBI will cooperate with foreign investigative agencies to pursue drugs, terrorism, etc. that occasionally involves working within those countries. Military investigative units, CID, NCIS, etc., will also operate to a certain extent with limited justifications. It isn't insane to approve a request from a legitimate government agency to come in and interview someone, etc. The Chinese just abused it here. Edit, LMAO who TF sent me a Reddit cares message for this.
D also says it operates in 69 nice countries too. NYPD also has a number of foreign offices.
Why on earth does the NYPD have foreign offices?
Organized crime.
And terrorist networks.
And money laundering.
I'll take all things the NYPD is guilty of for $400, Alex.
The words they were looking for seem to be kidnapping and blackmail.
Breached protocol? Sounds a much more pleasant experience, doesn't it?
Thanks, authorities. Way to go with showing that we're willing to stand our ground against foreigners who think they can bend our policies and laws to their whims.
Why use passive voice? Australia allowed this.
To keep making Australia out to be the victim.
This sure does make them look weak.
Government is weak, bloke.
Similar to the time the Australian Federal Police were given a tip-off about a drug smuggling operation between Indonesia and Australia by a family member of one of the people involved, on the condition that they be arrested in Australia and dealt with by the Australian legal system, as the family feared what might happen if they were caught in Indonesia. The AFP promptly just told the Indonesian police, resulting in 2 Australian citizens being executed by firing squad, 6 getting life imprisonment in Indonesia, and 1 getting only 20 years.
Jesus Christ, why?
Problem solved, probably.
This sounds a lot like kidnapping.
If it sounds like a duck.
Quack.
Canada doesn't need to allow Chinese police in. There are literally bricks and mortar Chinese police stations already established here in Toronto and Vancouver. They actively operate to intimidate the Chinese diaspora, and Canadian government doesn't really care that much.
These are all over the world. The Irish government ordered the closure of a bunch of them back in 2022 when they hit the news.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.